What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the PONDCast, produced by Webs Online. I'm Justin Skaggs, and I'm your host. We have a special treat for you guys today. We're going to start diving in with all of our favorite guests, bring in some new guests, and we're going to start talking about summer, the heat, and what you guys need to know in terms of, your pond and your pond care. If you guys do hear a little bit of noise, there is some construction going on at the studio next door. Nothing we could do about that, but we did move to a quieter area. But you might hear some of that in the background. We have Carolyn Weise with us today from Microblift. Let's jump right into it. Carolyn, thank you so much for coming back on the podcast. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
All right, so we needed an expert because there are countless things that could happen with poor storage, especially in your line of work. So we had a customer call and just ask, basically, what should I do during heat waves or just very hot months with all the chemicals and bio materials that I have for my pond. So I thought I'd just kick that right over to you, since you're pretty much the resident expert on the podcast for those kind of things. So basically, we have customers concerned that there's going to be something wrong with their chemicals and biomechanics during the warm summer months.
Well, there are a few things you want to keep in mind. The chemicals, you want to make sure that you've closed the caps, closed the lids tightly. You want any evaporation, because that has the potential to change the consistency, the concentration in the bottles.
Oh, that's interesting. So it might actually make them stronger than what you would expect. So, one dose would actually end up being an undisclosed, undeterminable amount more strong. With a different
outcome in the pond. So you don't want to you don't want that to happen.
Right.
Other than that, they probably won't change with heat. If there is a problem with storing them at warm temperatures, that should be listed on the bottle.
Okay, so besides just a distinct warning, evaporation is going to be the number one thing in a chemical aspect that you want to worry about. So, all right, so to the listeners, let's distill that down. Check everything real quick. Take a look at all the labels. If you don't have anything in your shed or in your garage that says anything particular about heat, you should be okay. But check all the caps. Probably safe to say every time you start using something.
Right.
Okay, so that's chemicals.
Right.
Fair enough.
And I can say with like our Microblift biological mosquito control and the Night Out 2. Those are two products that, like the Night Out is oxygen dependent, and the biological mosquito control. Both are kept in refrigeration when they're here at our factory, and when they go home, they should be kept at cool temperatures. You don't necessarily have to keep them in your refrigerator. I keep them in mine. But they have to be kept at 72 degrees or a little lower, in order to assure that you will have the 3-year, say for biological mosquito control, 3-year shelf life, and Night Out 2 has 12 to 18 months for that shelf life because of the oxygen dependency. So you want to get the most out of your product. You need to keep those two especially cool. You can't leave them out by the pond.
Okay, I got you. So certainly no direct sunlight, because that's obviously going to fry them out. Keep them cool. What about the basement? Like your average customer's basement's probably a little cooler than either the garage or a shed out back. So if you're not going to refrigerate them, that's probably the best thing I could consider.
Well, that should be fine. Most sheds would be good for other products. Because it's closer to the pond, and you'll be more likely to use them. Like if you've got the 5-in-1 test strip, or if you have the pond test kits, they aren't usually in danger. But I just want to let you know that the reagents for nitrite and nitrate, those are sensitive to heat.
Gotcha. Okay.
You don't want to leave them out in a sunny area or a very, very hot area. And this year, this year, I don't know if I can't remember last year now.
It was probably still awful.
Yeah.
They're all just awful. They're just getting worse. Yeah.
But the test strips usually aren't a problem with heat, but they're those two, nitrite and nitrate reagents, react to the heat, and they can become null and void.
Gotcha. So basically, anything dealing with nitrates and nitrites, any of those reagents, we need to watch those. And you also mentioned the mosquito-based products as well. So those are just some subjects that we want to be extra careful and make sure that they are not being in anywhere that's hot. Now, you did mention that you put them in your refrigerator.
I do.
Is there any? I can't just let that slide without asking you. Is there any danger to, I don't know, your sweet tea or the turkey sandwich sitting next to it? Obviously, you want that separated.
No, it's not going to jump out of the container and infect your. Now, the biological mosquito control is it's a spore-based bacteria, and it's not going to activate until you put it into the water, until you put it in a bun. So unless you're going to actually add it to your and maybe you don't cover your turkey sandwich, but unless you're going to put it on your turkey sandwich, I don't recommend it. It's not going to infect anything in the refrigerator.
Well, there you go. Turkey sandwiches and sweet teas are safe.
Sweet teas, they're safe. It's not going to go from one container to another. And if you really have any issues with that, put it in a Ziploc bag so that you don't accidentally go and reach for the wrong thing.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I think that is a very concise answer. It's much better than I would have done answering that person. So I'm actually going to send them a direct link to this, and we're going to make a full podcast out of it. Do you guys have anything new this summer that you want to let everyone know about, or any upcoming releases from your company?
Other than the new labels, so when people when they get their products, a lot of times, like webs may not have all the new labels on their website. So if they order Microlift PL or the calcium montmorillonite clay or something, and they're looking at the website and seeing a picture, and when they get it, it's in a black container with a beautiful new label, and they want to know, hey, this isn't what I ordered. Just let them know we just changed the labels.
All right, well, you guys heard it here. If you get something with a new, very visually appealing label, it's still what you ordered. They just switched out their labals over there, Michael.
Didn't change anything inside.
Well, you never change the good stuff. You know what I mean? It's all just about the visuals. Well, hey, I appreciate you taking the call, and I'd love to have you back on really soon to talk about more of this stuff that really matters to people right now, which is just the heat outside.
All right. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Well, hey, take care. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us on this episode of the PONDCast produced by Webs Online. I'm your host, Justin Skaggs, and today we were speaking to Carolyn Weise. You can find anything you need for your pond, including the products and items discussed by her in this episode, on websonline.com. Till next time, take care and enjoy your pond.